We have a bit of a crisis on our hands, a new crisis on our hands for parents and their adult children and the opportunity it creates for financial advisors.
This is The Rare Advisor, proud to be a part of the Advisor Advancement Network and home of a business model supercharged by recurring and repeatable events. Your host is Mike Walters, CEO of USA Financial. He is an investment advisor representative of and securities are offered through USA Financial Securities, member FINRA SIPC, a registered investment advisor.
For polls going back all the way to 1995, we are at the lowest point in which adults, parents, believe that their children will have a better life than they do. Meaning, economically, they believe that it's going to be worse for the next generation than it is for the current generation. And as you know, the history of that sort of a poll is the opposite. It's the anticipation that the next generation always has something better coming down the pipe. And when you think about the fact that the stock market has done all that it's done over the last 10, 20 years, and you think about what interest rates have been like, even though we're in a time of inflation right now and interest rates are going up, but there is all kinds of volatility taking place. And volatility tends to wreak havoc on people's mindset. What's going on between their own two ears? They may have themselves in a very good situation. And I will tell you that the odds are their children are in fact going to have a better life than they did and a better lifestyle than they do, if for no other reason than technological and medical advances will continue to move forward. With all that being said, however, the fact that we actually have polling data. This is published by Gallup, and it's from data from the New York Times, from CBS News. This chart is from Axios, but they're literally showing us that only 42% of people believe that their children's future is better than their future. And so what that tells us is there is a wonderful planning opportunity. There is a great lead gen opportunity because people are desperate to change the future for their children. That's simply how we're wired. We always want better for our kids than we have for ourselves, just like our parents did and their parents before them and right on down the line. Now, you might recall a couple of subject matter topics ago here at the Rare Advisor, I shared with you some stats. Now, these come from a publication from Accenture. It was the New State of Advice. And they told us that 91% of people indicated that an advisor who understands them, who gets them as a person, was most important. So taking the time to get to know your client, to understand what makes them tick, how they're wired, why they're wired the way they are, that's kind of the epitome of what it takes to start the planning process. However, we also found that 90% of people felt the advice they were receiving from their advisor, it was too generic. It wasn't up to snuff. It didn't have enough oomph to it. It wasn't getting them what they needed. And then 51% of those people indicated that they would seek out a new advisor if they had a large lump of sum of money to deal with, meaning they don't think their advisor has the moxie, has the chops to take care of what needs to be taken care of if they were just if they up the ante just a little bit in their plan. And then it continues to go on. 44% of people think their financial advisor is just a salesperson. And then 17% of people are changing and finding a new advisor each year. So in 6 years, in theory, you've got a full turnover. So all of that now comes directly in connection with the graphic I wanted to really focus on today, which is fewer Americans today believe that the future is better for their kids than it is for themselves. So how do you fix that? You fix that through proper financial planning for the parents, and then making sure that the adult children understand that this planning process is put in place for them. By the way, that's a key attribute for the surviving spouse as well. Both spouses need to understand that the plan is being put in place for the surviving spouse, even more so than for the two of them together. And then subsequently, the plan is also being designed for the adult children and for what's best for them. So that's why you run family meetings, and it's a great time of year to do that. From Thanksgiving to New Year's is a great time to run family meetings where you MC it with the hierarchy of the family and make sure that the right messaging is coming across so that you can secure those assets and they don't wander away either when the first spouse dies or when both parents die and those assets move on to the kids.
This information is for licensed financial professionals only and is not intended for use in soliciting sales from the public. The views expressed represent the opinions of the presenter or their featured guest, not necessarily those of USA Financial or its affiliated subsidiaries. Industry references are generic and not intended to represent actions or beliefs of any individual or entity. Content is only presented to illustrate general principles, beliefs, or ideas and should not be construed as legal or regulatory advice. Trademark and copyright protected. USA Financial and Affiliates.